As revealed by YouTubers such as Nerd City, my buddy Andy Warski, and the world's most fabulous internet troll PewDiePie, YouTube has a code that will tag your videos for demonetization. You can find these codes at the source page of every video by pressing Ctrl-U. Well, you can't right now because YouTube removed it once everyone figured it out. Sneaky bastards. But what is actually inside these codes? Just in case you missed it, if you type in excluded ads, you will find specific numbers. What do these numbers mean? Well, according to a study of over 800,000 videos, you can check out the full monetization analysis report link down below, 102 means profanity and rough language, 104 means sexually suggestive content, 105 means tragedy and conflict, 109 means sensational and shocking, and finally 115 means sensitive social issues, controversial, guns, etc. Nerd City found out that 113 means tragedy and conflict, Andy Warski found out that 59 is terrorism and or religion, 76 is politics, 89 is fighting or talking about violence, 106 means LGBT issues, and during his livestream he found out that there's also a tag that says promote terrorism. All of these demonetization tags are given to your videos by analyzing every single aspect of it. For example, your video's thumbnail, every frame of your video, the words that you say that are being detected through automatic caption, and even presumably YouTube comments. So basically, if your channel is above 10,000 subscribers, you can upload videos as unlisted and have people to review those videos to approve demonetization before it's even public, regardless of how many views it got. However, even after it's approved, bear in mind that video classification may change later based on how viewers engage with your video. So by viewer engagement, they can mean whether or not viewers like, dislike, comment, or report videos. Any of those things can factor in the re-demonetization, which also happens for some reason. In other words, you can be approved for monetization only to be not approved again thanks to people putting mean comments. And yes, these demonetization tags have been removed by YouTube, so you can't check them out right now. Well, too late YouTube, we have finally figured out your plan of demonetizing videos through AI, as if that's going to work at all. YouTube, how many times should I say this? AIs cannot comprehend context. I've said this all the way back from the first Adpocalypse video, and I'm going to say it again. If you're going to use an AI to detect the word Trump, for example, you don't know if it's in the context of a Trump card, I'm having a holiday in the Trump Tower, or Trump should be impeached and die in a fire, which is an opinion that is perfectly allowed, but don't you dare say it to Hillary or Obama or any other protected politicians here. These demonetization craze has been getting more and more ridiculous. Oh, by the way, remember when I said that I'm not really bothered by the demonetization? Yeah, well, I need to put an asterisk on that. I am bothered by it not because I'm gonna die if YouTube doesn't give me money. I'm not that desperate. I still have college and my parents are awesome and my patrons are even more awesome, including our new patrons Kai Levtel and Nathan Andrew. You guys are fantastic. I am bothered by the demonetization because YouTube's ad revenue has been nothing but extra money for me to buy some new toys to play with, like new games on Steam, or these cool crystal PS4 controllers that has been on my wish list. And since Christmas is approaching, less ad revenue means less freaking toys, and less freaking toys means less fun Christmas. So thanks, YouTube. You've made my Christmas a hell of a lot worse, which means that I have to work a little bit harder to make some 10-minute videos. Some might call this selling out, I call it saving my Christmas. Speaking of Christmas, I guess I have to add one more picture in my lewd appabend fan art folder. At BitMetal1, thank you so much for the fan art. I'll be using this for good. Twitter is a strange platform. On one hand, porn. On the other hand, my self-appreciation exercise. Twitter is a strange platform. It grew up as a free speech platform, but now it has spiraled into a censorship platform where people are being banned or suspended off of Twitter permanently for one stupid reason after another. They didn't censor porn though, so one of the things that Twitter promised to do is to make sure that this space is free from harassment and bullying, and good for Twitter for trying to uphold their rules. But it seems like Twitter is not doing a good job of that, because we have people who are verified on Twitter who spews not only dumb opinions, but dangerously dumb opinions. Look, I don't care if you're left or right. I care whether or not people with different political opinions, different opinions in general, can come to each other, have a conversation, understand each other's issues, etc. Twitter should be an open playing field for many different types of opinions, but unfortunately, thanks to them de-verifying or suspending right-wing accounts because it's being viewed as endorsement, it has less become an equal playing field and more about creating a left-wing echo chamber of some sort, which means that certain political opinions or behaviors are okay as long as you agree with the political opinions on the left. Case in point, let's check out some of the downright lunatic opinions in some of these verified accounts. So a journalist, Ian Miles Chung, tweeted a New York Times article essentially sexualizing a 10-year-old.
The normalization of pedophilia continues as a major newspaper promotes the sexualization of a young boy.
And it appears so. This New York Times article is glorifying the fact that this kid wears makeup. Why? Why should this fact be glorified? It's almost like they're trying to sexualize him or something. Oh, look at this kid. His makeup is better than yours, you thought. Well, yes. If you're a fucking pedophile.
This is normalization of young boys feeling comfortable with their sex and expressing themselves in ways previously frowned upon by society. If you think that he is sexy, you are the problem, not him.
So it is about sexualizing the child. Young boys feeling comfortable with their sex? I'm sorry, but he's freaking 10. We don't get to make people to be comfortable with their sex at that age. Unless you want to bang them, you fucking pedo. I cannot believe that time and time again, a lot of these progressives are proving these religious extremists right. People who continuously push LGBT issues are gonna push it so far to also include pedophilia. Again, I'm gonna refer you to this small webcomic to illustrate my point. And by the way, tweets are also not just limited to individuals because sometimes verified news organizations also push hateful garbage like this.
Opinion: if you let boys be boys, they will murder their fathers and sleep with their mothers.
That's right. Apparently, if you let boys be boys, they're gonna be the equivalent of Norman freaking Bates. The unexamined brutality of the male libido. Are you seriously going to attribute the blame of Harvey Weinstein to the fact that he's a guy? Are you saying that all men are blamed for this? What are you going to do? Advocate for the decriminalization of women killing men?
This is the best tweet. Also, I think that women on man murder should be decriminalized.
You know, I should probably stop making hypotheticals.
Yes, I'm a racist. I hate white people, most of all, you. You happy now? I hate most white people too!
What kind of world am I living in?
Only a white person will look at history of the world and think hating white people is the most harmful thing for a woman of color.
From one person of color to another, yes, you fucking idiot. If you hate white people, they're going to hate you back. Which means that you can have a justification in calling all white people racist. You've gotta be trolling.
So white people are scared of becoming minorities because they remember what they have done to black populations and know they owed some revenge? You might have a point there.
Okay, so you're on the conquest of exterminating white people. You're pretty much just a couple of millimeters away of saying your white DNA is an abomination! Jesus Christ, I'm done with these verified lunatics. Look, am I saying that these accounts should be banned because they say these hateful things? No. Let these people say these hateful things. I'm saying if you're going to have a role of providing safety and comfort towards everyone, free of harassment and bullying, then you should also apply these rules to these people. But you don't, because these people are on your side of the political spectrum. You're not creating a safe space for everyone, you're creating a safe space where people can advocate for the murder of men, unironically, and still have their accounts verified. But hey, at least they still have hentai. There's a good doujin that I recommend called Emergence by Shindle. It's one of the most heartwarming doujins that I've read. Go check it out. At this moment, I'm very sure you're tired of hearing the loot boxes of Star Wars Battlefront 2 and how it's paid to win and gets more and more annoying. In a lot of ways, EA wants you to suffer through this controversy burnout, make people tired of hearing it over and over again, thinking that somehow would change their opinion. But if you somehow missed this catastrophic event, I have another video to sum up everything linked down below. So what else is there to talk about Star Wars Battlefront 2's fiasco? Well, there are quite a lot of updates on the story, and the updates are pretty freaking dumb. First off, let's talk about the government trying to regulate these business practices. Yes, that's right, the government is now trying to regulate these business practices, and to be perfectly honest, I disagree. I've said this in the past, regardless of whether or not you consider loot boxes to be gambling, put a freaking warning in the game's box art so that anyone who buys the game knows what they're into. And yes, if you want to buy games with pay-to-win loot boxes and mechanics, absolutely, go waste your dollar there. While you're at it, do this. Also, if you're interested in the retail copies, they still have a lot of them available. Just look at that. I mean, just look at that. How could you have a freaking Star Wars game only lying on the display just like that? It's freaking Star Wars. You have to fail so spectacularly in order for you to have Star Wars lying on a display like that. It's like Mass Effect Andromeda all over again, which, come to think of it, it's also published by EA, and it also failed. This is the sort of move that made Disney to be pissed off at you, and it's to the point where the government had to step in. In my opinion, I really don't think the government should. Last time the government tries to regulate video games, it's concerning video game violence and its effects to children, which we all know is absolute nonsense as we see a decrease in youth violence as video game sales grow even bigger as time went on. Now some of you might say, oh well, the government is finally kicking the doors at EA. Take that, you spawn of Satan. I want you all to put your biases aside and think for a second that the government can also do this to other game developers or publishers who don't deserve it. Do you want the government to regulate Japanese fan service games by censoring most of their content so that it passes the ratings? And yes, I've gotten enough emails to tell me that Senran Kagura has more to it than just fan service, so please, for the love of God, stop. If you won't regulate this shit, then the government will, and you will not like it when they do. You've seen how they did it last time. They're gonna ban certain video games off of the country out of fear of harm towards children, or even towards adults. But this time, they have a legitimate case, because we've seen quite a number of victims of these predatory business practices losing thousands and thousands of dollars on things that constantly beg for your money. Your money and time are worth spent anywhere else. So if the government rains hell upon these game publishers and knowing that they have the power to do so, who knows what they're going to go after next? The best thing that I can say about the government regulation against loot boxes is that it's completely unnecessary, because we as an industry can self-regulate ourselves. But then again, we're talking about EA here, and EA regulates loot boxes the same way Paul Kersey respects the law. At this moment, I can only sit back and watch how the government would regulate this. All I'm saying is just to put a warning in the box art saying, hey, this game contains gambling. You know, just like how we do in other games with the ESRB or PEGI ratings. Hey, this game is mature content. This game is for people above the age of 18. This game is multiplayer only. This game can only be won if you spend money. This game is for those who have severe brain damage. But no, ESRB and PEGI basically say, well, they're not really gambling, so we're not gonna put any sorts of warning in there. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that EA is one of the members of ESA, which created ESRB. Now, these gullible rich parents are gonna have a hard time distinguishing between games that you can get in full price and games that you have to constantly pay to get good at. If they got it wrong, their kids are gonna be fed with a game in which they have to constantly spend money even after they already spent one for the base game. Or maybe that was a part of EA's demonic plan. After all, they made a lot of money in FIFA's Ultimate Team, preying on those with poor financial decisions to throw their money on fire. Hey, at least FIFA has couch co-op, and that can at least be mildly entertaining to invite your friends over. Battlefront 2's audiences are a lot more hardcore than FIFA, which is why the backlash is a lot more severe, and the impact is a lot more noticeable. And by noticeable, I mean $3 billion in stock! But here's the most rage-inducing but at the same time not so surprising news. Despite all of the recent backlashes from many people, including Disney for God's sake, they still won't give up in microtransactions. So instead of having loot boxes that would make you kill your enemies quicker, they decided to go into a more acceptable route of cosmetic loot boxes, which is basically the No Man's Sky method of patching the good shit later, and even then, for some reason EA still had the gall to say horrendously stupid things. For example, when being asked in why they didn't have cosmetic loot boxes,
the one thing that we were very focused on, and Lucasfilm is extremely focused on, is not violating the canon of Star Wars. It's an amazing brand that's been built over many, many years. If you did a bunch of cosmetic things, you might start to violate the canon. Darth Vader in white probably doesn't make sense versus in black. Not to mention you probably don't want Darth Vader in pink. No offense to pink, but I don't think that's right in the canon.
You don't want to violate canon in a game where young Luke Skywalker can team up with Rey and battle up with Darth Maul. That's like not wanting to add Clorox bleach in a bucket of piss. EA, you might as well just shut up at this moment. Stop being stupid for just 1 second. Or you know what? Keep on doing it, so that you can make more and more videos like this. Keep on doing stupid things and screwing up to the point where the government had to intervene in your gaming hobbies and parent the parents who refuse to parent their children. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to enter some really dark future. A dark future where the government is going to take control of our gaming hobbies because parents refuse to do their work, game publishers continue on being greedy, and game ratings boards not doing their job. All for the sake of milking as much money from the whales and the consumers as possible. Just be glad that I and many other people are smart enough to spread information of these horrible business practices so that customers can avoid it like plague. Their next step is to probably just go after net neutrality. But that's not gonna happen anytime soon, right?